Welcome to Welfare Clinic. Today we're going to talk about two issues. First of all, we're going to talk about dark is just as beautiful. Does dark skin matters in our community nowadays? Do racism and institutional racism affect people from the BME community, especially women from the BME community? But we're also going to talk to somebody who's also doing an enormous amount of charitable work, but also producing a Bangladesh diary where he has visited Bangladesh, helping victims of acid survivors, and he has written about it, and we're going to talk to him. And I have two guests with me at the studio today. First of all, I'm going to introduce Salam Jones, who is a writer and community activist. Salam bhai, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. My next guest is Nawshin Ali. She works for charity, but also specializes in conflict resolution. So if you need of her to find a solution for your conflict, then maybe my guest might be for you to contact. Nawshin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start off talking about Dark is Just as Beautiful, the campaign that you guys have launched not so long ago. Why did you choose to launch this campaign, and what is it behind this campaign?
Okay, can I explain?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you know, you may be aware, Oliur, within the Bangladeshi community, there was, growing up as a child in this country, I noticed there was a fair amount of stigma about dark skin. So quite often we'd hear that dark-skinned people aren't that beautiful, or "Hala manush sundor nai." You know, this is a very, very common phrase I heard while growing up. So recently I was on my travels in Bangladesh, and I was going through the villages, and I went to visit three sisters of mine, cousins of mine, and two of them are very fair-skinned, and one is very dark. And the youngest one, who is the darkest, I said to her, "You know what? I think to me, And the other two looked at me, the fair-skinned two looked at me like, but she's dark." And my initial response was, "Can you hear what you're saying? Like what it is you're actually saying, can you actually hear what it is you're saying?" And then I thought to myself, there's no point in me trying to explain to these girls, because they genuinely believed that dark skin, and it couldn't be, and also the dark one was as well. I could see that her confidence wasn't as great, because she also believed that dark skin is not as beautiful. So when I came back to London, I decided, you know what, I really need to do something. I need to do something to make my community aware that this attitude is complete nonsense. Yeah, I mean, we took 10 dark skin beautiful, some would consider very beautiful, beautiful women who are also very successful in their jobs and in their education.
But it's a historical thing, isn't it?
It is.
The darker skin that comes to play especially in the South Asian community, not just in Bangladeshi community, but it's a historical aspect, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When it comes to dark skin.
Yeah, absolutely. The funniest thing is, right, 200 years ago, before the British came along with their ways and their newfound education and their greatness, in India, in countries like India, in Bangladesh didn't exist, obviously, Pakistan didn't exist, but in countries like Southeast Asia, or places like Southeast Asia, the concept of beauty, shundor, was actually dark skin. So, dark people were considered to be beautiful. Yeah? Then the British came along with their system, and they educated our people, apparently. But their education was based on the bottom line is, if you were rich, you wouldn't have to work in the sun in the fields, so you wouldn't get as dark. So if you were pale, it just went to show that you had more money, and ultimately you were more comfortable, which put people in a better position. So the fairer you were, the more you perceived you were to have more power and more money and more comfort. And that, unfortunately, down the line has still transferred. Even after the British left long ago, in 1952, they still left that mentality behind. And that mentality has stayed within our parents, and our parents have subconsciously, unwittingly, passed it on to us, our generation. And if we are not careful, we will raise our children to believe also the same things. Yeah, it's not only a problem that's prevalent in Bangladesh, in India and Pakistan and all the other South Asian countries. It's also a problem that we noticed exists very much here in the British Bengali community. There are a lot of Bengalis, old school, we call them old school Bengalis, Agoramlir Manush. They still harbor that belief that, you know what, yeah, so stuff like this. And I think it's time that as a community we all said, you know what, this is rubbish. We don't need to believe any of this anymore. We don't need to, you know, here I have 10 very, very beautiful women. Look at them. They're dark skinned, they're beautiful, they're educated, they're doing really well in their chosen professions. Let this be a wake-up call to our community to change their attitudes.
Nawshin, you are graduate,
Yes, that's
talented,
Thank
you
you.
work for charity, you provide resolution to conflicts, which is a very, must be pressurized work, trying to resolve conflicts. Dark skin, why does it matter so much?
I guess for me, it starts maybe from a young age. So when I was growing up, I guess in secondary school, I would get a lot of stick, especially from Bengali people, about my skin color and the fact that I wasn't Bengali
You're not
enough.
that dark, by the way.
Thank you very much. Wait, why am I saying thank you? It shouldn't be a thank you or not a compliment. But yes, so there was this constant question of whether I was Bengali, and people would kind of stereotype me or I guess put me in this box of being Sri Lankan or Tamil. So I kind of grew up with this stereotype throughout.
But there
my
is
whole-
nothing wrong with people from whichever part of the country
Right.
you are from. There's many young, talented, whether it be black, Asian, South Asian, you know, from African continent.
But in a society where I'm
If-
still as a young person
if-
trying to find my identity, right? It's difficult
If
trying to.
sorry, just to interrupt.
Yeah.
If you look at it currently in the Olympics,
Right.
you know, there is many black, talented women, you know, achieving gold, you know, silver medal. So they are very successful in their life. You know, there is many barristers, many lawyers, you know, solicitors, and that doesn't prevent women achieving what they want to achieve because of color of their skin.
I think it's a different perspective from a male. I think it's you. I'm sorry to say, but you wouldn't experience the things that I have. You wouldn't experience what my experience was in school. You wouldn't experience the kind of, I guess, bullying that I got because I had a darker skin. So I completely understand that your perspective is that it shouldn't stop a woman. And yes, I'm really glad that women around the world, especially me, can kind of overcome these weaknesses and still like be successful in my field. So I'm definitely not saying that it was a setback. I'm just saying it constantly made me question my identity. It made me feel like I didn't belong to being a Bangladeshi, if you understand what I mean.
Do you think this is still exist?
Yes, definitely. I think it definitely still exists. And I think the problem is that people refuse to target it and refuse to talk about it as a conversation.
And why is our community so reluctant to talk about issues such as this?
Because they don't perceive it as a problem.
Yeah.
They feel like the way things are, it's all part of tradition, it's just the way things should be. And I guess it's something that's perpetuated because people feel it's important to be able to divide groups and communities in order to get things done in society, right? So if Bangladesh is constantly on this idea that light-skinned people and dark-skinned people can never get along, then we're creating chaos in a country that could otherwise be quite communal. And
But do you think it's changing? Do you think it's changing?
I think it's taking a really long time. Like I would say for me, within my generation, perhaps it's changing. A lot of people still have this deep mentality to still kind of value fair skin, and it's something that's wrong. And if you talk to them about it, maybe they'll disagree, but I still feel that it's still a deeper need of satisfaction in
I
some
want
way.
to pick something that Salam have mentioned in terms of bride, where they have lighter skin or darker skin.
Yeah.
Do you think that when a family or groom is looking for a bride for their son, nephew, whoever, that color of the bride is actually takes over her education, her family background, things like that?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I would say yes, because I guess from a young age, I've kind of always been told to put Fair and Lovely on, or like Holud to brighten my skin and to lighten it effectively.
I didn't know that before.
Yeah, so that's something that's very normal among young Bengali girls, and it's kind of almost stereotyped or brainwashed within you from a young age. But I would also say that it's definitely a setback for women in general. Like, you would be compared, if you both had, say, the same degree, the same qualification, same experience, if one person was light and one person was dark, the family who wants to marry the bride,
Yeah.
I guess, would pick the lighter person. They would, without a doubt, wouldn't go for the darker person. And particularly even when photos are taken, they're supposed to be in like I guess pleasing lighting, or where the skin appears to be lighter. And even during weddings, when people are
Photoshop.
made up during weddings and they have the whole process of like becoming a bride, they are lightened a lot lighter than their usual skin would be, and that is the accepted norm in salons in Bangladesh.
Yeah, but if you can use the Photoshop, to edit the picture, but obviously when you go to see the real person, you're going to see what that person is like.
Right.
And do you not think people should be actually looking at people's educational background, the cultural background, or family background, or what the individual is like as a person,
right, of course.
rather than the color of the skin? And isn't that a form of discrimination?
Of course, 100%.
Absolutely.
I will have to say myself that I'm not really looking for arranged marriage myself, and I'm lucky to know that my family isn't just thinking about my skin color in order to get me married. But you're right, definitely, it shouldn't have anything to do with skin color. It should be about what that person is like, whether they'll be integrated enough in the family, whether they'll, like, what kind of ethos they have in terms of bringing up children. Like, I feel like those key points are way more important and having an education than skin color.
And do you guys think that it affects when it comes to other activities in life, such as employment, work, or going about, mixing and making friends? Do color of your skin matter then?
I would say personally for me, I guess I feel like I am less prejudiced when I am within, I guess, a lighter group or Europeans than if I would be within a Bengali society, because I feel like I'm constantly being judged for my skin color. So I would say yes, I would mix and be wary of people depending on the attitudes that they would have.
And what advice would you give to other young women of today?
Okay, so it's going to be really difficult. I completely understand. I know where you're coming from, but just kind of try and find what you like about yourself. Try and find the soul within you that you really appreciate and admire. And I would say always remember to treat yourself and treat others how you would like to be treated. Don't think about, I guess, the emotions or the attitudes that people will give you. You can only control your own behavior. So always try to turn this negativity into some kind of aspiration where you're able to strive for more and be more successful than just skin color.
And Salam, when you started this,
Yeah.
Obviously when you came back from Bangladesh, you started this just over 2 months ago, I guess. What kind of support are you getting, especially from the South Asian community or Bangladeshi community?
Okay, when I first started this, my original idea was just to do a photo shoot. I asked for lots of help with models, and I got, I got a lot of support especially from the female population. And then that kind of made me realize, I also got a lot of emails like, oh, I'm so happy you're doing this. This is really needed within our community. A lot of women actually started stepping forward and telling me their stories of discrimination. One of the things that I need to clarify is that up till about a year ago, I ran a matchmaking service for the British Bengali community here in London, or in the UK. And we tried that for about 3 years. We struggled. We struggled for a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons that we struggled predominantly was because of the skin color thing. So, for example, I had a perfectly suitable bride, mid-20s, late 20s, doing a degree, doing a master's, doing a PhD. She's going to earn more money than you and me put together when she's finished. Yeah, inshallah. This girl will struggle to find a husband simply because she's dark. So you hear things like, okay, you hear stories of like the groom's family has come, they loved her on paper, they saw the biodata, they absolutely loved her, they came with their whole gushti, and then they saw the bride, and then they were like, okay, don't call us, we'll call you. Yeah. Then you hear stories of.
It's quite shocking, isn't it?
It is a bit nasty.
It's
when you think
reality,
about
though,
it. Yeah, but it is reality for a lot of dark-skinned women in this country. When you when somebody actually said to one of our brides, somebody actually said, you know what, it doesn't matter what paperwork you have. After you get married, that paperwork will be useless and it will be hanging up on a frame somewhere on the wall. Because, do you understand? So what he's saying.
So do you think those discrimination happens in the communities because of lack of education, lack of understanding? What does it motivate those individuals to behave the manner they behave?
I think it's to do with social values. Social values haven't changed that much since our parents came here in the late 60s, early 70s. So there is a very classic sociological phenomenon which says that a small group of a minority of any country that moves to another country will hold on even tighter to their original core values. And so what our parents their belief system is based 30, 40, 50 years ago.
And what do you intend to achieve from this campaign, or what outcome do you have in mind?
The very least I can do is give one young dark-skinned girl out there watching our video the confidence to get up and move forward with her life, and not let something like something so stupid as skin color hold her back. At the most, what I hope to do is send out a strong message to the Bengali community that this kind of behavior, this kind of mentality isn't really suitable anymore. We're in 2016. If you don't evolve, you'll die out, just like the dinosaurs did. You know, we need to grow as a people. As Bangladeshis, we need to grow. We can't still believe in the way we believed in 1970. You know, so yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we're actually just to ensure that there is equality in this whole campaign. It's not just about the women. We're actually
but it's about the men as well. There's a dark-skinned man as well, I'm assuming, probably face similar difficulties.
They face similar difficulties. They don't face it as extremely because often their dark skin is compensated for by wealth, status, education, height. Even height is an important factor in marriage, I think. But we are still going. Our aim is to do a male version of the same campaign in about 3 months' time. So,
okay. Yeah. I also want to touch a little bit about your recent visit to Bangladesh.
Okay.
You didn't just go on a holiday. You went for a purpose.
No, I go for a purpose. I've been for a purpose for the last 3 years now.
You went for a purpose. And what was your purpose of your visit?
Okay, there are 3 main reasons why I visit Bangladesh. I came here at the age of 5, and I'm pretty much what a lot of people would consider a coconut. Yeah. So have you heard the term coconut before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I am pretty much what a lot of people would consider a coconut. I live.
Well, not listening to your a poem that you have written.
Okay.
And you recited, I think a couple of months ago. I've heard.
Okay.
I don't think anybody would think you were a coconut.
Al-Tawali.
Yes.
You talk about Al-Tawali. Okay,
yes.
that's a good poem. Well, it's memories, isn't it? So, but I went back to Bangladesh after 37 years. So for the very first time, I had no desire to go. I had no love for the country. I went back. And I went back to discover my past and also myself. Yeah. So and I took a camera with me and I took a laptop and I blogged about my journey along the way. And I took a lot of really beautiful pictures. So, but the 3 reasons I went there was, well, first of all, for myself. Secondly, I go every year now to work with street children in Bangladesh.
Okay.
And the third reason I keep going back is so I can continue taking even more beautiful footage and photographs of the country of Bangladesh, of the beauty. And my aim is to show this beauty, or to present this beauty to the next generation of Bangladeshis in this country who don't seem to have as much love for Bangladesh as they should do. I mean, admittedly, it's fair enough. They're not born there. They don't speak the language. They don't have a passion for the food. Why should they have a love for the country? They're not Bengalis. They're Bengalis, but they're not Bangladeshis. They are British-born Bengalis in this country. So why should they go back? But I'm trying to generate an interest, but the only way I know how to do that is to show them pictures, beautiful images of the country, the food, the people, the animals, the sights, everything that I encountered on my journey.
You mentioned about street kids. What are you doing with the street kids of Bangladesh?
Okay, I work...
Because the reason I ask this, because there's loads of charities that actually raise funds for various parts of Bangladesh. Are you just another one of those charities just raising money and giving it to Bangladesh or trying to do something, or are you doing something different?
I'd like to think that I was approaching it from a different angle, different perspective. First of all, I've done full research into my charities, so I know where every single penny goes to. That's the very first thing, because end of the day, if I'm taking public money and I'm giving it to these children projects, I want to make sure that it's going to who it's going to. So there's no, I don't make any money from the appeals. So I do a lot of appeals for public donations. I don't make money from the appeals. A lot of times, I mean, well, all the time, I'm funding stuff out of my own pocket. So my air flights are from my pocket. My hotels are in my own cost. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I actually go back and I continue the journey every year. So I've made a commitment now to the country. I continue and I watch the progression of these children, and I watch what our money is doing, and I take that and I film it and I take photographs and I report it back to the people in this country. Any organization that I get involved with, I do my full thorough due diligence, background research. I make sure they're not corrupt, they're not dodgy. We know a lot of charities back home. They're like, not all. I have to say this, not all. But there are some that are doing umburi, and I make sure that my stuff is clear and 100% transparent. So.
No, that's important. I think the transparency and the accountability.
Yeah,
and we're not going to name any charities, but there is a number of charities that people do raise concern about their accountability and their transparency as to exactly how they're doing things. You're launching something called Bangladesh Diaries.
Okay.
Or Diary Bangladesh.
Yes, no, Bangladesh Diaries is correct. I after 3 years of continuously going backward and forwards to Bangladesh, I've decided finally to, and I'm really privileged to have given a space, a high-profile space. So the Brady Art Centre in Whitechapel. I've been given that space for a 4-day period to present an exhibition of my photography. Now, this is from the 25th of August until the 28th of August. So it starts on Thursday and it finishes on Sunday. It is a free exhibition open to the entire Bengali and non-Bengali community, not only in Tower Hamlets but London-wide. If anybody likes any of the prints, the photographs, they're more than welcome to purchase them there. And that money that we generate, that money goes 100%. It actually gets split. The money from the photographs gets split between a really lovely bunch of guys that I work with called the BRT UK. Can I mention them? Yeah. BRT UK, who I'm sure you know of. They are going to be responsible for the distribution of that money in the Select District. And then the other 50% of the money raised from the photographs is going to help the Acid Survivors Foundation in Dhaka. Now, this is another organization that I just recently started working with, and I very, very much like and respect their work. At the same time, during the 4 days, we're also going to be having a launch of the Bangladesh Diaries book. Now, we've actually, after much editing and much late night of hard work, we've produced a book of the best photographs of Bangladesh that I've taken on my journeys all over the 3-year period. That is being sold directly at the exhibition, and that money gets split between an orphanage in Sunamganj, so in the Select District, and then the Street Children's Project in Dhaka, which is run by another great organization that I work with called Muslim Charity. So that's it. It's in a nutshell. It's a free exhibition.
So you're doing quite a bit.
I'm doing this year. I've done 6 different projects this year. So this is my last and final one for another 6 months. After this, I'm going on holiday and no one will hear from me or see me for 6 months. Yeah.
We are coming to the end of the show, Nawshin, and obviously we've spoken to Sam about his visit to Bangladesh and his Bangladesh Diaries. But I just wanted to just touch, before we finish, just on the Dark is Just as Beautiful. I think it's such an important issue, especially when it comes to people are discriminating one another, especially when we happen to be from the same community, same background, maybe a same village, same district, but because of our color of our skin, it seems to have a great barrier within our community. Do you see you kind of doing anything yourself to educate more young women so they can also become an ambassador of this issue and raising the awareness within the community?
Yes, I particularly am trying to change attitudes within my own family in Bangladesh. I think that's very key. It's still a massive issue, particularly because I'm next in line for marriage. So it seems to be a really deliberating issue. A lot of my cousins are a lot fairer than me. So for me, I'm kind of constantly having to fight for my corner. So that's very key, to kind of begin within your own family, talking to your cousins, talking to people of your own generation who have a different mentality or idea about what it means to discriminate between color, especially light and dark. And then within my own community, I guess, to be honest, it's a bit trickier because this is kind of the attitudes and mentalities that I've grown up with. So it's difficult for me to, I guess, stand up and say, hey, come on, this isn't right. But I'm trying my best. I'm trying to speak to everyone I can. I'm trying to become more involved with the Bangladeshi community. I guess I'm one of those coconut generations that is kind of refusing to have any kind of connection with Bangladesh. So it takes time. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. I had many a times, many a years where I refused to even show my identity as Bangladeshi. So
Why were you so reluctant to show your identity?
I guess I felt like I was embarrassed.
Why?
Because I didn't think that we were moving forward. I didn't think we had enough openness. I didn't think we had enough humanity for each other. I felt like that we put more importance on the barriers that divide us.
Do you not think
rather than the
Bangladesh is
togetherness.
very open at the moment, especially with the social media, digital Bangladesh?
My friends are always complaining of how every time Facebook gets shut down whenever some kind of political situation happens. So perhaps me and you have a different perspective on it, but from what I'm seeing, the new generation who is trying to change things and make Bangladesh democratic and open and not a third world country anymore.
But why would you?
Against
I can understand the political aspect of Bangladesh, but why would you say that you wouldn't be proud of or embarrassed of where you have actually come from?
Because we are refusing to get together and be human and understand each other as humans.
I think I understand where Nawshin is coming from, because with her dark skin, Bengalis throughout her life have constantly made her feel like she's a second-rate citizen, a second-class citizen. So when she then comes into contact with other Bengalis, why she's kind of hesitant to admit she's Bengali, because she fears
the
that
first question will be, are you Bengali? Oh no, you don't look Bengali.
Yeah,
that's always the first statement.
I think I can actually understand what Nawshin is trying to say.
But for me, I think the problem is that I feel like I don't trust my own kind. I feel like I don't trust my community to, I guess, protect me or make me feel safe. And that's a key issue of belonging, right? That's kind
absolutely.
of the epicenter of belonging.
Nonetheless,
yes.
What I'm trying to establish is that obviously your root is important,
yes,
regardless
of course, for me,
because
now it is anyway.
your root is very important, and that's something I believe that you or anybody should be proud of your root, regardless of what others may say or do. But you wouldn't be able to generalize, leaving the political issue aside. But apart from that, I think Bangladesh is a very beautiful country. Bangladesh has lot to give and lot
But don't you
to
feel like
offer.
that's just your patriotism talking? Are you saying that this love for Bangladesh kind of clouds?
No. It's not love for. It's not just love for Bangladesh under the clouds. But I think what I'm trying to.
But clouds the idea of the reality
But
of it.
what I'm trying to establish is that where you say that you're not proud or you're embarrassed to show you are Bangladeshi, what I'm trying to establish is the kind of message that you are sending to the younger generation who may be feeling, but if they hear you and they say, okay, look at this young, talented young lady, and she's saying that she's embarrassed, then should I also be embarrassed about it? Should I not say I am from Bangladesh? Should I not say?
I was just pointing out that the key issue is to be honest, most people my generation are embarrassed because we feel like we can't make a positive change within our society. But that doesn't mean that we should give up. It means that we should get more involved with the Bangladeshi community. It's just going to take time. It's not an overnight thing. The political system in Bangladesh won't be fixed overnight, but it's a case of taking it one step by step and just getting involved in one thing. I guess my relationship with Bangladesh even started with an organization called Aitijjo. I was volunteering with the organization and decided to recruit volunteers and manage the whole exhibition. So that took time, energy, trust, in finding the right network of people that I knew wouldn't judge me.
Although
So-
we diverted
Sorry,
a little
yeah.
bit, but it was an important issue. But I wish to wish both of you luck
Thank you.
in your projects and the work that you are doing on behalf of the community. I hope you all the success, especially in your campaign about discrimination that we are currently facing, but also in your Bangladesh diaries.
Inshallah,
I
that
hope
should
the
be
book sells and,
successful.
I hope people buys them and
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
make more contribution in Bangladesh, especially after 37 years
The
visiting.
Bottom line is, the more people visit, the more photos we sell, the more books we sell, the more money we can give back to the people of Bangladesh that need it most.
Thank you for appearing in our show today.
Thank you very much for having us.
I hope you enjoyed the show and obviously you learned something from it. Dark is just as beautiful, so you happen to be one of those ladies or men with dark skin, then your skin shouldn't be a barrier. You shouldn't be discriminated because of color of your skin, and it shouldn't be a barrier to you or to anybody else. But also Salam's Bangladesh Diaries, he's having an exhibition 25th to 28th of August at Brady Art Center. If you're available, do come and visit his work. And until then, do take care and don't let anybody discriminate you.